here we go. We're getting into our next game. We're getting into our next series. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Leylines, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss representing Streamer Zone. It is NightMare. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Red Protoss player, representing Team Little Fairy. It is Shameless. Let's go. We have our second series of the night, and we are jumping into our mirror matchup, our PvP. Again, NightMare is a player that was very active back in December, but then he kind of shied away from the game. He took a bit of a break, you know, maybe it was the holidays, maybe just, again, coming into the new year. But NightMare has been significantly less active here in January. It's been a shame. It's been a shame. I'm a big fan of NightMare. NightMare, of course, does very often compete in, or at least used to compete in our tournaments very often as well. But I do also know that NightMare, he was a little bit demotivated, of course. Like, you know, there's a lot of uncertainty going on in StarCraft at the moment. NightMare, who was playing a little Stormgate when that was in the open kind of stages as well, and yeah, with that, NightMare, thankfully he's back. He is back. We've been seeing NightMare. We have been noticing him pop up from time to time over the past week, over the past like 2 weeks, I would say. NightMare has been semi-active, so always happy to see more of NightMare, always. And the question becomes, is he out of practice? Because he's been less active, because he's been, again, hibernating a little bit more, how does he compare to Shameless? Shameless, a player who has been on the grind. Shameless has been improving so much over the course of 2024, still on that rise, still with that rate of improvement as well. We'll see how they compare. It's one of those things where, on the one hand, Shameless has been grinding, he's been improving, that is all true, but NightMare, even if he has been taking a break, this is one of his stronger matchups. When I think of NightMare, I think of his PvP and his PvT. We've seen NightMare even take it to Clem at times, even in December. Like, NightMare, he's a beast. His weakest matchup is PvZ, but I didn't see a Zerg player. I didn't see a Zerg player here, so NightMare is still going to be very much so in form. It's still going to be a challenge for Shameless. Still be a challenge. A NightMare. Let's go. Shameless, he will block the expansion. Again, a 2-gate opener out of NightMare. Likewise, 2-gate from Shameless. Ramiro Stalker Sentry, likewise double Stalker out of NightMare into 2 more. NightMare being hyper aggressive, he's moving out. He's going to be pushing. And we'll see if NightMare can overwhelm Shameless early on, as he will have the army advantage. Shameless looking to expand, getting his natural. NightMare's expansion is delayed, now getting it. And here come those Stalkers. Here they come. Poking in. To poke in. They don't want to get caught out by the force fields. Oh! So far, so good. He pulls away. Is waiting for his reinforcements. Waiting for that 3rd and 4th Stalker as well. Hallucination diving in. No crazy setup yet. But Shameless will confirm that there is an expansion. Not an all-in. Shield battery is done. With the help of the shield battery, Shameless should be okay. He should be able to hold on. As he does fall back. Shield battery under fire. Once again, can he try to land those force fields? Oh! Does catch out once, no, barely not. Doesn't catch the Stalkers. Alas, NightMare slips away. Force fields were a little bit lackluster. And NightMare escapes. Whew. Does escape. At least Shameless saves the shield battery. True. Does save the shield battery. Both players building up. More reinforcements have arrived, and as we said, this is a big shout to Sort of Pappy God. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the raid. Hope you had a good stream. Hope you had a good ladder session as well. Welcome, Pappy. Welcome. As we are back. I wonder if there's anyone that that just came from the raid that were actually with us when we raided Sort of earlier today. It's possible. It's possible. But thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hope you had a great time. And welcome one and all to the OSC Season 12 Championship. We just began our second series of the night. We just wrapped up with Nickrat versus Wayne, which went all the way to the ace match, and I do recommend the VODs. It was a very intense series between Nickrat and Wayne. Went the distance, but now we're here with our PvP. If you're a fan of Zerg, don't you worry, we're going to be casting Solar and Young Yakov later on tonight. So we have some Zerg matches for you after the initial PvP. We got you, we got you. We'll get there. As Blink is on the way for both players. NightMare going for a much faster third. Meanwhile, Shameless going for the faster Robo, as he's contained. He's contained on 2 bases. All the Ducklings. So far, nice force fields. Likewise, Blinks away. Shameless does avoid being locked down. Does avoid it. Warping a couple of adepts. Okay, behind the middle line. Nice catch here on the sentry. Sentry goes down. The adepts are amassing. Getting ready to push in. Shameless, he sneaks out a probe. Going for the expansion. Shameless is trying to finally break out. Alas, more reinforcements have arrived, still contained. At the same time, adepts are shaded towards the mineral line. But NightMare's in position. He's ready for this. Forces back the adepts. Rotates, denies the base. Is trying to at least. Oh, one more volley. Oh my god, then we force a cancel. Yeah, brutal pickup. Denies the expansion. Back at home. 5 probes going to be going down. We'll take some damage. We'll sustain some losses. 6 probe kills even. Shameless does take a lead. Does take a worker advantage. But it's still down a base. Oh. Almost still snipe that sentry. Still very tense between the two. Shameless trying to poke in. Not quite caught out. Once again, shading into the mineral line. More probes going to be falling. Not bad. Distracting NightMare. Getting up to 10. Oh my god. 10 probe kills. He's crazy. 10 workers going down. Better CranKy here for Shameless. Boys are being pulled. More probes going down. And NightMare is being pulled apart. May have denied the third base early, but the third base is about to finish. About to get up and running. Shameless trading well. Just rallying the observer. Does rally in. NightMare chasing him down. Now NightMare, he's down in workers, but he does have that Immortal. The Immortal has arrived. Pushing in between the bases, looking at the units tab here, 21 to 12. NightMare with a massive Stalker advantage. Blinks in. Takes down the sentry. Almost double the Stalker count. And there's no shield battery. Yeah, there's no shield battery in position. There's no defensive setup here. NightMare, he may just snowball out of control. Shameless, he was harassing well, don't get me wrong. But he wasn't ready for the counterattack. He wasn't ready for this. GG gets called, and NightMare, he will overwhelm. He will take a lead in the series. GG. Whew. GG, well played. NightMare will take a lead. Again, a very intense back and forth between the two. There was a lot of pressure on Shameless to get some economic damage, and he did pull it off, but at a cost. At a cost of Stalkers, at a cost of Adepts, at a cost of units, which meant that his army was suffering as a result, and NightMare did eventually break out. Did break out with that. GG. NightMare takes the lead, and now we're getting ready for game number 2. Going to be loading into Amygdala. Yes, the Zergling is sliding. Let's go. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Amygdala, we have the South Korean Protoss player leading the series 1-0. It is, for Streamer Zone, NightMare. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the red Protoss player representing Team Little Fairy down in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back and make a series out of this. It is Shameless. Here we go. As we're loading into one of the larger maps in the map pool, despite that, of course, I mean, in PvP, anything can happen. With the power of proxies, with the power of warp-ins, you can still get across the map real fast, real quick. And we'll see how our players set up, as we do see the scout towards the north from NightMare, scout towards the south from Shameless. Probes are moving out. Just looking at scouts. No major commitment, no proxy. And once again, 2-gate opener from both players. As a reminder, last game, NightMare did open up 2-gate Stalker. That's double Stalker into a 3rd and 4th Stalker as well, just to contain his opponents, and as a result, he was able to contain and delay the 3rd base of Shameless for so long. But I would say it's more difficult to pull that off here on Amygdala just because the rush distance by ground is very long. So longer rush distance by ground takes longer to reinforce, so I wouldn't put as much stock here in going for the same style from NightMare. I would expect to see something different. Expect something different. Shameless is setting up, waiting for the cybercore. No proxies, no hidden pylons, no fake pylons. And what's it gonna be? Oh, okay. So it's gonna be double adept here out of NightMare, and it's gonna be sentry into, I was gonna say sentry expand, but okay, sentry stalker out of Shameless. So once again, a much more aggressive start from our blue Protoss player. A bit of a different form of aggression this time. The goal of the adepts, of course, is to shade past the army into a mineral line, whether it's in the natural, whether it's in the main, and to get economic damage. And it's not just the adepts, we have adepts and we have oracles as well, as it is a Stargate before expansion. So adept harass alongside oracle harass for NightMare. And Shameless expanding. Stalker Sentry into 2 more sentries. Very safe way to play. Does give the defending player a lot of hallucinations to scatter across the map. And force fields to defend. Speaking of, here comes the first hallucination. Does spot the adepts. Does spot the adepts, forcing them back. Expansion's on the way. We have our take-up choice from Shameless going into a Twilight Council into Blink. No surprises here. Working towards Blink Stalkers. Meanwhile, he is not set up in the main. He no shield battery, no Stalker, no nothing. Oracle has arrived. He did scout the Stargates. He should be ready for, there we go. There's the warp in. Whew. As Shameless was otherwise preoccupied, but does warp in time, he's ready. Shameless is ready, is prepared. So far, Shameless is not able to find a way in. We have the Adepts, we have the Oracle. So far, no major dive. Oh! As force fields, once again, they don't quite connect. Adepts, they're forced to commit, though. 2 Adepts are going to be going down. Oracles into the main. They can one-shot probes. 4, 5, up to 6 probe kills. Oh, for the Oracle, though. Rough loss for NightMare, and it was another. He does. Both Oracles go down. Massive losses. And Shameless, he can break out. He can break out. He's done defending. Didn't even need a shield battery in the main. Blink is almost done. Once it finishes, Shameless can be active. He can move out. So a nice defense here by Shameless. He is still down in workers, that is true. But upon sniping those oracles, he can expand and take a 3rd. He can look to take a 3rd base. The pressure is now on NightMare. He moves out for a proxy. Set up the pylon. To commit and back at home. How many gateways? Jesus, a 4-gate blink set up already, which means we're going up to 5. This is looking like a 2-base all-in. There is no 3rd. There is no 3rd base for NightMare. He has 4 gates, which is insane to begin with, and we should be seeing more. Now, Shameless, before NightMare can be aggressive, He has to defend. Shameless dives into the main, goes to the pylon, will depower some of the production. Nice pickup. NightMare out of position, has to respond. Does blink in. Does blink, bleeds out a Stalker. Trades 1 for 1. But this will slow NightMare down. And there's that proxy 5th gate. Shameless is expanding. And NightMare is committing. Oh boy. He does have to commit. Oh no! Meanwhile, the proxy is being found. Massive catch here from Shameless. Yeah, he does force a cancel. The pylon will fall, and Shameless, he takes the lead. He shuts down the all-in. He takes a 3rd. It's almost done. And NightMare's in a rough position here. Like, how does he reinforce? How does he do this? How can he break through? Leading out 2 more Stalkers. Trading with Shameless. Does trade. He's forced to expand, as he just couldn't commit to the proxy. He couldn't save it. And it's just such a late 3rd base for NightMare. Such a late 3rd. Now, other ways to bounce back in this game. In PvP, always. Robo's on the way. This could be for fast disruptors. If we can rush into a bay into disruptor production, that would be a way to come back. Otherwise, Dark Shrine. Dark Shrine DT is also another way to come back in this game. As NightMare is repositioning. Gets a Stalker. 1 Stalker goes down. Likewise, NightMare going to be peeling off towards the natural. Shameless keeps up. We have another gateway explosion on the way. Of course, no forge for NightMare, so Shameless will take the upgrade lead. Getting the charge. More gates of his own. NightMare trying to keep up. Supplies are still pretty close, but I mean, that will soon change. Once that 3rd base gets fully saturated, even getting a 4th as well. Shameless, calm down. Getting a 4th base. NightMare trying to be somewhat active with this army. It's going to be spotted by the Observer. They spot each other. Oh! Oh my god. Barely not catching the Observer though. Shameless will be able to get away. Does put away. Temple Archives now done. Getting to Archon production. I believe there is no Temple Archives from NightMare. Yeah, he's not ready for that. So NightMare, he's 1 step behind. Did opt not to go for the Dark Shrine. Or the Disruptors. Just playing Standard instead. He's playing Standard, getting a 4th. Trying to get his own 4th base, going for a run by as well. I mean, with these counterattacks, there is potential, 100%. If Shameless is out of position, which he is, his main army is located towards the north side. And barely anything towards the natural. We're backing up his army. He's giving time for Shameless to respond. Stalkers are revealed. Shameless trying to split up. He's trying to split up here. Spots the Zealots. Does spot those Zealots. NightMare poking in. Shameless should be the first to max. Real Shameless, he cannot take this fight just with your Zealots. Has to pull back. More Zealots on the way. as the armies are building up. And we're just waiting for that moment. We're waiting for that push here, essentially. Now we have NightMare rushing towards Disruptors. I mean, again, NightMare is currently behind. Shameless, he's maxed. And we might not even see the Disruptors he's pushing. Now, as Shameless moves out, here comes a Zealot run by. Actually, does turn around. NightMare being tentative with those Zealots. What do we go for? And again, the longer this goes on, the better it is for NightMare, as he is that much, though he is one step closer to those Disruptors. Just needs a little bit more time. There we go. Disruptors now on the way. Disruptors in production. Army dives in. Prism is exposed. Takes a couple hits. The base goes down. And Shameless, he has to send it. He has to go here and now. Breaks through the Zealots. One more Zealots coming from behind. Plenty of Archons though to defend. One Immortal does get surrounded. Hopping up here to Shameless though. Saves the Immortal, saves the Archons as well. The control is solid. Disruptors have arrived. One Nova goes up. But Shameless, he's done it. Yeah, the Disruptors, they're not good enough. GG gets called, and Shameless ties up the series 1-1. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. Shameless will tie things up. Again, Shameless just having a very strong start in this game. If you remember, we saw that of course NightMare was setting up for a 2-base all-in. He started off with Adept Oracle harass the Oracles, they fell in their face. NightMare, he's going up to, what was it, 7 gates? No, sorry, it was 5. He had 4 gates at home and a 5th gateway proxied. He was trying to go for a 2-base all-in, but the gateway was found. It got shut down. We got a full scout from from Shameless. Shameless, he of course had a much faster 3rd base, and Shameless was looking very comfortable from there. He was ahead from that moment, and the pressure was on NightMare to bounce back, and he wasn't able to. GG. GG, well played. Whew. With that, we are tied up 1-1, and we are making our way into the 3rd game. As a reminder, this is a best of 5. Plenty more games ahead of us, but we'll see who takes a lead in the series, as game 3 is going to be on Gressvan. Let's go. For those that are tuning in from sort of's raid, for those that are maybe unfamiliar, welcome to the OSC Season 12 Championship, where we do feature an extended map pool. We have the regular maps, true, but we also have some older maps that were voted on by the players and by the casters as well. As a result, we're able to feature an older map like this one. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Gressvan, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss. For Streamer Zone, it is NightMare. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the red Protoss player representing Team Little Fairy. It is Shameless. Here we go. We are going to be calming things down and loading into one of the larger maps in the map pool. Again, it's been a couple of years since we've been able to feature Gressvan. This was in the map pool back in what, 2022, I want to say. It's been a while. It's been a while. Hold on. Gressvan Wikipedia. There we go. Gressvan Elite. Just quickly checking. It was 2023. That's it. So relatively recently. Was in the map pool for essentially a full year of 2023. And was notorious for being the most macro map in the map pool as well. Ooh, as Shameless does go for, I was going to say a fake proxy pylon, but the probe is on patrol. Interesting. Now, based on this location, this wouldn't be the worst location for a proxy robo. It is a little bit far away, that is true, but the path towards the natural is very direct, so there's potential. There's potential here for Shameless. We'll see what he throws down. Cybercore is done in a couple of seconds. And how hard do we commit? He doesn't. Okay. Doesn't commit. Fake proxy pylon, moving in for a scout instead. So fake proxy here by Shameless. Meanwhile, we do see NightMare is aware that the pylon is missing. He's scouted, he's aware, he's looking for that pylon, checking towards the south, and looking for the proxy potential Stargate or Robo. So NightMare, he's searching. NightMare searching. Opening up with a Robo, very defensive setup here by NightMare. So basically, this Robo shows us that NightMare, he believes that there most likely is a proxy coming his way. You can see him checking with a Stalker, with the Probe, with another Stalker as well, being very paranoid and being hybrid offensive. Back at home, Shameless just expands. He just expands. Now, once NightMare realizes what's going on, and it'll take a little bit of time here for that to occur, he can turn this defense into an offense. This Robo can turn into a Warp Prism. We can get a Warp Prism across the map to reinforce, a Mortal Production as well, and suddenly it can be Shameless on the defense instead. So Shameless, thankfully, he also opens up Robo. A bit of a later Robo timing out of Shameless, but defensive nonetheless. Hallucination confirms that there is a Robo from his opponent. He also confirms how late the expansion is from NightMare as well, and Shameless, he comes out ahead in the openers. Shameless, he's up in probes, he has a faster expansion, he has a faster, or I should say, he has a later Robo, but that doesn't matter as much. So Shameless looking good. Pylon is finally found, the jig is up, NightMare now realizing that it was fake outs. More Prism is on the way to move out, and the pressure's on NightMare to get damage done here with this Prism. To get into the mineral line. We'll see if he can. Likewise, Shameless being active. He's reinforcing. His own War Prism has arrived. He has the high ground. The main armies, they do pass by each other. Just barely. And who recalls first is the question. Who flinches? As Shameless does have the better economy at least. Meanwhile, going straight into the main. Going straight for the main base. Does force field the ramp. Dives in. At the same time, NightMare, he recalls. Does recall back home. Into the main. And Shameless is going to be forced out. He can just keep force fielding. Drew. He's going for the Immortal. Oh, barely won't get it. Clutch control. NightMare will save. And NightMare defends. And in the aftermath of this, Shameless still maintains that lead. Remember, Shameless, he was already ahead, and NightMare was hoping to get some counter damage, but he was forced to recall back home, didn't risk it, and Shameless looking good. He's up 10 probes. He's up 10 workers. What is he doing with that economy? He does have a faster Forge for +1, faster Twilight Council, faster upgrades, faster everything. Now, the one thing that NightMare has, of course, is his Immortal Production. As he does have a faster second Immortal, I believe. No? Oh, never mind. Never mind. Shameless has that as well. Oh, no. NightMare setting up for a third. True, a faster third base would be a way for him to try to recover. Is a way. And as I was talking about getting a third base to recover, it is not the case. And this is also another option. This is probably the most viable option here. Glaives, what does that mean? 2 base all in. NightMare is going for a 2 base all in. He knows that he's too far behind. Oh, the control! Trying to save some probes, but just really awkward micro. 6, 7 probes going down. NightMare catching up. Oh no! He's trying to catch up on the economy. Prism will get away. Whew. Worker counts are even, but remember, Shameless has been mining more for longer, so Shameless still in a better position. Again, because of that, he has +1 that's almost done, charge almost done, getting to Archon production as well. And NightMare throws down a massive gateway explosion. Again, it's all or nothing for NightMare, and we'll see if Shameless can survive. He will have a shield battery. A shield battery in position. Just the one. Archons will help, especially against the Adepts. Shameless, he confirms he gets eyes on the massive gateway explosion. And we'll see what we have to work with. So 3 Immortals. Shameless, sorry, NightMare is up in Immortals. He's up in Immortals. He will be up in Adepts, of course. He has the War Prism to reinforce across the map. He's up to 4 immortals. Jesus. At the same time, picking off more probes. And I'm concerned with the lack of shield batteries here. 1 is okay, but ideally we'd want some more. As here comes NightMare. He is up 20 army supply. Despite the lead that Shameless has had, I mean, it's still going to be a tough hold. Shameless getting ready for an expansion. Okay, spots the army. There we go. It looks like Shameless didn't realize what was happening. He didn't realize what he had scouted. He's getting hit with his pants down. NightMare moving in. Going for a massive shade. Will threaten the dive. There we go. Now we get some shield batteries. But they're so late. Decent force fields. Oh, catching out some sentries. Catching out some adepts. But again, it's a late realization here for Shameless. Doesn't matter though. Will it matter? God, that's so many adepts. Oh no! Okay, does wall off in time. Whew. Does wall off, and we're gonna commit. He commits to the shade. Arcos, they move forward. And NightMare with the full surround, he will completely shut this down. He's going to clean up that army. There are some reinforcements on the way. But the Archons, the Immortals, they all go down. And NightMare, he has done it. He has broken the main army. And again, Shameless, clearly, as we saw him trying to expand, he didn't realize what was happening. GG gets called, and NightMare, he takes the lead 2-1. GG. GG, well played. NightMare, he saw the gateways in the main base. He saw the lack of third base. It was on NightMare to piece it all together. Alas, he did not. We saw him trying to expand. We saw him with a delayed reaction, delayed response with the shield batteries. And alas, delayed warpins as well. He was working on +2, an upgrade that was not going to be a factor in that fight. And it was caught with his pants down. The pants were down, Poppy. The pants were down. GG. NightMare takes the lead, and with that, we are getting into our next game here. NightMare 1 game away from advancing on into the next round. Shameless needs to fight back here and now to force the ace match. Let's go. So we are jumping into Romanticide. This is another map that was voted in. And again, clearly players willing to play on these maps instead of some of the other maps in the map pool, in the current ladder map pool. And here we go, spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Romanticide, we have the blue Protoss player, the blue Protoss from South Korea, leading the series 2-1 for Streamer Zone. It is NightMare. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss player down in the series, despite being ahead, despite having a good start last game. We'll see if we can bounce back and force that ace match for Little Fairy. It is Shameless. Let's go. And welcome one and all to Romanticide. It's been even longer here. Romanticide, I believe, was in the circa of StarCraft before the season before Gressfod, so this map would have been 2022. It was Eternal Empire for the season before this, then Romanticide, then Gressfod, if I recall correctly. So it's been a while. Has been a while. This is one of the larger maps in the map pool. At the time, it was the largest map in the tournament map pool. A lot of bases, a lot of open spaces, some defendable locations here towards the center of the map and towards the south as well. And in a standard kind of setup, I would expect a longer game, but in a PvP, I expect anything but. For now, 2-gate opener. 2-gate opener from both players. And we're settling in. So now we're calming down, and this time there's no proxy. This time no proxy, no shenanigans, no fake pylon either. Just settling in. Throwing down our pylons in the main. 2 gateways, Cybercore is done. What do we have? Gonna be double Adept out of NightMare and Stalker Sentry out of Shameless. We've seen this dynamic before. Once again, NightMare is gonna be the aggressor. Double Adept can also lead into a Stargate, can also lead into Oracle aggression as well. Let us go. As our players should be looking to expand, and really my eyes are going to be on NightMare to see if he does throw down that Stargate. How aggressive is he going to be? As it looks like our players do intend to expand. NightMare following this up with double Stalker, actually. Very aggressive. Double Stalker, Twilight Council before Nexus. Adepts are revealed. Shameless likewise going for a faster expansion. So Shameless, he's going to have the greater economy, but alas, NightMare will have the larger army and faster blink. Here we go. As he's moving out. Shameless, he will confirm, he will get eyes on the timing of the Twilight Council. He now knows that he's going to be behind in blink. Is aware. And he also gets eyes on the timing of the expansion. And again, it's on Shameless to be the defender. To set up. See if he can. Now just keeping up with the shades. See NightMare just reinforcing. We're bringing more stalkers, spreading out, fanning out his army. Does fan out. Major aggression yet. We can see Shameless, he's checking for gateways. He's trying to make sure there's no 2-base all in. And we can see that NightMare is expanding. Slowing things down. We are expanding. And we might actually get like a proper back and forth mid game. That has not happened yet in this series. I mean, we kind of saw it on Amygdala, kind of. It wasn't quite the same though. As Shameless had a massive lead on that map. We got NightMare poking out. Shameless will expand. Oh, there's the spray! Does get the expansion. Adepts, they threaten the shade. Ooh. Don't quite make it in. NightMare backs off. And hey, we can slow things down. We can embrace a longer game state here. Again, something that we haven't really seen so far in this series is more of a back and forth mid game between Shameless and NightMare. It's been a little more aggressive and decisive than that so far. And when it comes to certain features here of the map, we have a pretty defendable 3-base setup. As you can imagine, there's a ramp coming into the natural, there's a ramp coming into the third, so very defendable 3 bases. The 4th base, likewise, here towards the south is also very easy to hold, as there's only one attack path, and again, you can maintain this position relatively easily. The center bases are much more exposed, whether it's this low ground base towards the center or the base on the left hand side as well, where there are multiple attack paths. So it can be a little more awkward to defend, especially once these rocks get opened up. We'll see if we get there though, because that is going to be Clave Adepts. So Shameless, he is getting a 3rd base. That is true. He is getting a 3rd, but he intends to be hyper aggressive here. He intends to commit. Glaives, they do not scale well into a longer game. The goal here should be similar to the previous game, where you have a massive amount of Adept to buffer and to protect your Immortals, and to shade onto or past an army. Oh boy. So Shameless is not really thinking further ahead. NightMare is. NightMare taking up into Zealots, into Archons, into a mid-game composition. This +1 is finishing up. Again, NightMare does have the upgrade advantage. Getting into +1. Shameless, he scouts. Ooh, he tries to. Doesn't really get to see much. Doesn't spot the Zealot army. He doesn't see the lack of gases at the third base either, so no gases at the third, and only one gas here at the natural, so very zealot heavy. If you remember, I assumed that NightMare was working towards Charge or Archon, but without these gases, he actually can't afford any Archon, so it's just purely a gateway composition. Zealots and Stalkers, that's all it is. Just pure Zealot Stalker out of NightMare. You want Shameless. Building up those depths. Trying to back them up. Getting another expansion. NightMare does push. And I'm pretty curious to see how these two armies actually, how that dynamic unfolds. Prism into the main. Oh. Shameless trying to chase him down. Adepts are amassing. Massive orbit into the main base. And does Shameless recool? How does he respond? As I'll say, bust in. And Shameless, he might just commit. As the main base is forfeit, gateways being depowered. Oh, these are brutal pickles, so 4 gateways depowered. And Shameless, he has to recall back home. Recalls to the natural. It's going to be 5 probe kills. NightMare buying time, and now NightMare can take gases. He can take gases. We have the Temple Archives on the way, +2 as well. Still a stake on 3 gases, what I will say. But he's taking up, and he will kill the main. Oh my god. The main base goes down. And NightMare, he's pulling Shameless apart, taking down the 4th as well. Shameless down to a 2-base economy and just completely out of position. Again, he was hoping to be the aggressive with Glaive Adepts, and he never got to be. Was never able to move out. Never able to be aggressive or assertive. NightMare going for more pylons. As he's depowered everything in the almost everything in the main base. Delaying +2. +2 is delayed. And NightMare, he has just a massive army here. Charge lots, now Archons. Now he's taking those gases that we did mention at the 3rd. Now he can afford Archon production. He's there. And Shameless, he had the opportunity to be aggressive earlier, but it's come and gone. Like here, he's still massing up more Adepts, but Adepts, they just get outscaled in a longer game. What are they going to do against a mass Archon army? As NightMare is getting up to 4. 4 Archons. So NightMare is going to be the first to max out. He will soon push. For the time being, he has no reason to move in. Again, the 4th base is more exposed than the 3rd and natural, as you have to push up into these ramps, into these more defendable locations. So NightMare playing it safe. Playing it safe, getting into +3. Saturating his 4th. And waiting for Shameless to move out. Never mind. I was like, oh, he's just gonna wait for him to expand. NightMare, he's throwing down a wall stack defense, and that is 2 more robos and a bay on the way. He's working towards disruptors. The one other thing he could have done is throw down a fleet beacon to get into a mothership, and then start working towards Skytos. Thankfully, that's not happening. But NightMare just getting further ahead. Supplies are quite close, but again, a lot of that supply is in Adept here for Shameless. So I'll say charge in. Main army gets spotted. NightMare, he responds. Getting in position. Has to back up, has to respect those, 4 immortals. Nice force fields though. And looking down the army, creating a choke point. And just so much of the supply just doesn't even fight. Doesn't even engage. Just so much wasted DPS. So also get 4 probes across the map. NightMare, he holds. Shameless trying to rotate. is rotating over. Another Zealot run by in the way. Disruptors have arrived. Shoal says Nevers. There's a recall. There it goes off. Oof. No major connection yet. No major connection. War Prism was recalled. Shame of more depths. And Shameless, how do you push into disruptors like this? This is again not going to be easy. Speaking of, never goes off. Oof. Gets one adept. Damage yet. Oh no! Ooh, massive connection. Adepts are going down. The Novas, they just pop off. And with that, NightMare, he will overwhelm. The final stand here of Shameless. GG, good luck in the next round, and NightMare will claim the series 3-1, advancing on to that next round. GG. Whew. GG, well played. NightMare will claim the series. Shameless, he did have some good opportunities here. I do think that, I mean, I'm still thinking about Gressfan. I'm still thinking about the misread there from Shameless, where he was caught with his pants down. It was caught off guard, and from there, he was overwhelmed. Here on Romanticide, it was a bit of a different story, where Shameless was trying to be aggressive himself, and he was just caught out of position. He was just pulled apart left and right. There was a Zealot warp into the main, so he responded to the main. Meanwhile, at the same time, the main army pushed in towards the 4th base, and Shameless was just never where he needed to be. He was just torn apart by the aggressive nature of NightMare. GG. GG, well played. NightMare does claim it. Also, it was an interesting style as well, is what I will say. Remember, NightMare, he did delay his gases, he delayed his tech. He was just purely Stalker Zealot, which is why his army was so mobile to begin with, and was quite successful with it as well. GG. GG, well played. With that, that wraps up our second match of the night, and we still have more matches to come. Let's go as we do switch our scenes over and catch up on the matches of the night. Here we go. We have 4 best of 5s. 4 best of 5s. We just wrapped up with Nicorette versus Wayne. Likewise with NightMare versus Shameless as well. We are halfway through the broadcast. Up next, we have Solar versus Rebellion and Young Yakov versus Spirit. I know we had a lot of viewers coming in from sort of a stream. I'm sure they were waiting and hoping for some Zerg gameplay. We got you covered. We got some Zerg matchups here. A ZVP and a ZVT. We leave the best for last. I do rate Solar quite highly here against Rebellion. I mean, again, we have been casting a lot of Solar as of late. Over the past week, I should say, more so than previously. Solar was very much so inactive coming into January, and Solar has been struggling in this matchup. This is true. He has been struggling in ZVP. Despite that, Rebellion is going to be the underdog, and we'll see if he can bounce back and make a series out of this. Likewise, Young Yakov vs Spirit, also going to be a banger of a ZVT. For now, though, we're going to be going on a short break. We're going to be going on a break. We're going to take this time to just get some tea, to hydrate our hydras, to stretch our roaches, to tuck in the Tempest, and to cuddle your carriers here. Take this moment to get ready for the second half of the broadcast. We'll see you soon after the break. I'll see you soon, Pat. See you soon.